Hey, it is Greg Milby, Kentucky's Heartland at kentuckysheartland.com, sharing the stories, people, and events, powering the Heartland. And I have been excited for this interview for a while. Ladies and gentlemen, meet my friend Tamara.
How are you, mate?
Oh my gosh, she is, you can talk to me all day long.
Well, I think that's what I'm here to do.
All right. Tamara is a singer-songwriter from Nashville,
Yes.
who has gotten involved with the Radcliffe Veterans Center. And I just think this is the coolest project ever. You have written songs with our veterans
Yeah.
at the Veterans Center, and you're releasing an album with them.
Yeah, it's the most beautiful thing that I just didn't see coming. It's one of those blessings that has come through from a creative perspective as much as just from on a human level. Like, I've learned so much from these people, and they've become my friends, and it was just, I'm excited that you're excited about it, because this is the first time since we started that we're really kind of letting people know what we've been doing. So it really is something special.
So how did this get started? How does an artist from Nashville make their way to Radcliffe to write songs in a veterans center?
Yeah, well, I was asking myself that question on the first day, but it actually, the logistics to get to that point was, I do a lot of, like, songwriting for me is like my trade. My dad worked in a factory in my little hometown in Mooroopna in Australia, and so I've always considered songwriting as my trade because he was a tradesman. So I get to use it in different ways. So I do like songwriting therapy, as well as write for my own career or other people's career, but I do songwriting therapy processing group kind of things in trauma and recovery centres, and I've done that for a few years since I've lived in Nashville. I've been there for 5 years now. And so it was kind of through the gentleman that ran the Bowling Green Recovery Centre that I've worked with for a few years had mentioned to a gentleman who works at the RVC up here in Radcliffe, you should try this chick. She does some cool stuff with the residents at the treatment centre. So, longer story shorter, I was on tour in the UK, and I get an email from Laurie, who runs the program up there at RVC, and said, look, we'd love to try to get you in. And it just turned, I'm like, okay. And when I got back, we spoke on the phone. And she was like, okay, well, our residents are like between the age of around 60 to 103 is our oldest gentleman. And I was like, I'm sorry? and she goes, yeah, and some of them have beginning stages of dementia, and they're at different levels. And I'm like, okay, I just need to explain to you what I do, because I don't know that you kind of understand. But she was like, yeah, let's give it a try. And that's the spirit at the RVC, like, never underestimating what these incredible people can do. And so I drove up that first day thinking, well, we'll give it a try. It's a 2.5 hour trip up at 4 a.m. I'm happy to be up there and start by 9:30. I'll go anywhere to write a song, honestly. And I thought, we'll give it a go. And from the first day, it was just mind-blowing, And meeting Laurie at the front desk, and I had it planned. I'm like, okay, we'll run a 2-hour group, and I'll give them a break in the middle. And she's like, oh no, you got to have it done in an hour, because I get bored. And I learned they're not afraid to tell you to. So I was like, okay. So I'm walking down thinking, how are we going to do this? And from the first moment, they were just all in and so smart. And I mean, of course, they're, some of them, I guess, had creative experience. I don't know, but they'd have song titles. Every week that I'd go up, I'd walk in and they'd be like, let's write a song called Down Home. Frank, one of the gentlemen there, is like, Down Home. I'm like, that's a great title. So that's one of the songs on the record, and they just blew me away every week. I was doubled over in tears and laughter. So it was incredible.
Songwriting is not easy to do. Not at all. And it's a very complicated thing. I mean, there's some great musicians out there that can't write a song.
Yeah.
But the fact is that you went into the Radcliffe Veterans Center, and these veterans they got into the songwriter mentality.
Crazy.
So
amazing.
Was this an opportunity for them to dig into their past and think of memories and jog that? Did you expect some of the songs that you would get out of this?
Mate, I didn't. I just didn't know what to expect. I think in my mind I'd thought I was there to help them write a song to process their experience in serving, and that's part of what I was there to do. But they brought everything with them. They were so ready to share their experiences, and the variety of the things that we've written about on this record. I mean, it goes beyond anything I thought I was there to do. And life is good like that. God's good like that. The universe is good like that. Like, it just took us all on a journey. And I think for some of them, music triggered certain memories. So, the way that we write it is with a big whiteboard. And then I kind of guide them with rhyme structures and things. I mean, I feel like the toolbox and they're the paint in a way. It's their words. I help them sometimes and fill in lines and maybe to get things more congruent, especially when we're making the record, I'd contribute to some parts. But it's their stories, like for real. Everything from crazy road trips as a 17-year-old, and I heard a lot in that session.
Did you have to go
like,
take a shower
as crazy as
afterwards
I
and just kind of wipe all that clean? You're like, I had no idea what I was getting into with that.
It kind of was, but the how meticulous they were about getting the facts right. Because I'm like, the sheriff didn't come up behind you, and they're like, oh yes he did. All right. So one of the songs talks about that, you know, and it's just magical, and how they were relating to each other. They all came from different parts of the country, had the shared experience of serving, but these stories, that's one part of their story. It's one part of the life that they lived, a very, very important part that we're all grateful for. And as an immigrant in this country, I'm so thankful for. I've wanted to live in America since I was 10 years old, and I get to be here, you know. So, I mean, I'm thankful to them as well. But there's so much more to them and what they have to say than just that. It's incredible.
So you have an album together,
Yes.
and on February the 22nd, you will be able to hear the album at the Historic State Theater, which is a great venue to do this at. I mean, it's just just a fabulous venue to be able to do that. And what I think is cool is being an old radio guy who loves country music, the real stuff. I mean, I don't want to get into that argument today, but
Bring it on.
the fact is that this was recorded in the House of Blues studio in Nashville.
Yeah.
That is, I mean, this story just gets better every time we add something to it here.
Mate, it's you know, as you obviously know, it's one of the best studios in Nashville, and the records that have been made there, it's a beautiful place to make music. It was just perfect. Like, I've recorded in a few studios in Nashville, but as soon as we walked in, everything about it was just so right. And the coolest thing about recording a House of Blues was the incredible team at the RVC arranged for a few of the veterans to get clearance to actually come.
No way.
True story,
they got
man.
to sit in on the session.
It was incredible. So 3 of the gentlemen got to come with staff and nurses because for health reasons they needed that support. And, you know, like, they pulled up in the bus like rock stars, and got to sit in the back of the room and see 2 of the songs go down. And so the musicians that we used are the top session players, and I'm talking. We had our drummer had won Musician of the Year 14 times. Eddie Bayers, who's played on everybody's record, and Jed Hughes was on guitar, and Lex Price was on bass. Like Mike Rohorse, these incredible musicians that play on the who's who of country music. And you talk about, I know the era of country you're talking about, and Eddie was a star back then, and he still is. But they got to come in and see that. They've never probably, I assume, never seen that in their life. And their words, it was just magical.
You know, and I remember my grandfather who passed away years ago. He didn't share a whole lot early on in life, but as he got older, I would go visit him, and he would start to share a little bit about, his past.
Yeah.
And World War II, and I still have memories of some of those. I wish I had recorded some of that. But I just think it's fabulous that you've given these veterans an opportunity to put their stories, not just into words, but into beautiful music.
Oh, wow.
So it's pretty cool. So the album is going to be available.
Yeah.
And when you purchase the album, sales are going to go directly to the Radcliffe Veterans Center's Advisory Committee.
100%.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you just like eating ramen noodles all the time? You don't want to make any money? What's the deal with that?
Well, the project, it belongs to them. I mean, we talked about different ways to do it because, and some of the songs are sung from a male perspective. Like, there's actually a line in one of the songs that says "Pretty Woman in the Kitchen." So I'm like, well, how about I produce it? Because I produce my own records, and I'm a songwriter. I can be there for all of aspects, but let's get another voice in so people don't think that I'm sort of trying to take it. I just wanted to make it really clear that all proceeds, every dollar, when people buy an album, I want them to know that it's coming to you. I don't want them to think Tamara Stewart's taken $1. So, but they're a bit stubborn, and they were adamant. Because I was there, every day and writing it with them, they wanted my voice to be on it. I guess my voice was the one that they were used to. And
Well, I mean, and that's in their head, the way the story was told, it's in your voice.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean, that's just where it is.
Yeah.
So, with you being a professional musician and very talented, by the way,
Oh, thanks.
money is money.
Yeah.
But there's something special about doing a project that has meaning like this.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I tell people that sometimes with Kentucky's Heartland, the business people ask, all right, well, how do you make money? Well,
Yeah.
it's not really, I mean, yeah, it's a horrible business model. That's not what really 100% what it's designed for. It's designed about making a mark, leaving a difference. And I think you get that more than anybody that I probably talked to in a while, is that because you put your heart and soul in this, and it's not about the money, it's about the legacy that you're going to leave of these stories of these veterans here.
Look, it's so special. This is the 7th album that I've made, career record, and I was thinking about it while I'm making it, and it's like some things we do, you know, we're for different for different reasons, you know, and we've all been taken care of in regards to the cost of making this record, but this is one of those albums that it's got nothing to do with money, and it's not even about music. You know, it's like I'm proud of the songs. I mean, creatively, I'm proud that I'm part of it, you know, because I think we've done a really good job. But aside from that, when I talk about my career, and if I'm lucky enough to be around in 30 years, this is going to be one of the records that I'm going to want to talk about because, you know, and I think serendipity, the timing for me personally, as much as I understand this record isn't about me, but I'd recently lost my dad. He had dementia. And he was in a facility in Australia, and the connection that I felt when I got to go and see him was with the rec leader in that really low budget support. It was supported by the community, but when I walked into RVC, I said to Laurie, I wish my dad was in a place like this. You know, so through them and connecting with them and learning from them, it helped me to heal too, you know.
Yeah.
And I think with these songs, we're talking about big subjects, and they're relating to each other with the loss of a loved one, or, you know, what you want to say to your kids after you pass on. I mean, these are real things. And for me to be front and centre, to learn this stuff, you know, it fills my heart up. Like it's more, the songs are amazing, and I encourage everyone to go and get the album. But to be able to sit witness for hours the in between the lines and what I've learned and the things that I've heard.
Yeah, probably things that hadn't been told before.
It's like, I love
That's
it,
the crazy thing about it. So, you know.
But it's all beautiful because they're laughing and connecting with each other.
Yeah.
So it's not even, I just feel like I'm, in some days, just the prop as they share with each other the stories. So they're developing bonds and relationships. The staff get to come in and hear things that maybe the veterans haven't felt safe to share or haven't felt recalled memories, and things that they're able to take those moments during the week when I'm not there and process with them stuff that's come up. I mean, it's so multi-layered, and you know, as I say, for me, with my dad, I know with me and him, music was the thing that he loved music, so that's how he and I connected.
Well, I think you found a few more dads up there
I
in
know.
Radcliffe with that, been able to share their stories too.
Love it.
So Kentucky'sHeartland.com, underneath this video, if you're at Kentucky'sHeartland.com, is a little sneak peek that you can hear of a little bit of the music that is going to be available for purchase. Again, Saturday, February 22nd at the Historic State Theater. Tickets are $20 for military and veterans and $25 for the general public. So get those tickets. I got a feeling this is going to sell out because it is, I mean, it's got all the feels.
Yeah, it's
all
gonna
the
be
feels.
fun.
It's better than warm meatloaf and macaroni and cheese. That's some warm feels right there in my life.
And there's going to be laughter. There's going to probably be some
Yeah.
tears. And some of our veterans have since passed, so their families are going to be there. And it's just going to be just a celebration. And I said it earlier today, but, you know, I grew up in a little country town in Australia, but the community that I feel here in Elizabethtown is like, it's like nothing I've ever felt. And I mean that from the bottom. I've
That's
been
pretty cool.
kind of welcomed in as this...
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you're in now.
Well, I know.
Yeah, you can't go anywhere now.
I love it.
I will tell you, when you were at the Chamber of Commerce luncheon, and you know, you get up there, and you know, you're just like, "Hello." Sorry, I'm not trying to bust out some
I wanna hear
Australian
you do
accent.
this.
No, you don't either. So, but then you start singing, and I'm going, "Whoa! What in the wide world of sports just happened there?" Because you do not sound like you talk.
No. And
So
I
what's
get
the
asked
secret to that?
Yeah, I get asked that. Look, the only thing I can put it down to, if I was to sing in Australian, it feels really weird. It's like trying to do the reverse thing. It's very weird to me. The only thing I can put it down to is like, I kind of came out singing, but in the house I grew up in, it was like Kenny Rogers, Dolly Parton, Dr. Hook. So I grew up, and then by the time I got my first guitar at like 9, 10 years old, I was singing parrot fashion, I guess. But as I find my voice and what's on our radio and all of that, it's just that we're so kind of Americanized in Australia. But it's just naturally, I grew up on music from the South. So to me, it feels weird not to sing that way. But yeah, it's a weird thing, but I do get asked that a lot. Yeah. And it feels natural to me.
Yeah. How many times do you get asked, do you know Keith Urban? Because, I mean, if you're Australian, you bring up, do you know Crocodile Dundee?
Yeah. I was surprised how big Steve Irwin was here when I first moved.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone. And he was just, incredible. But yeah, I often
That's Saturday morning. Every Saturday morning in the Milby house was Steve Irwin.
And what a legend.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
Well, you're legendary in your own right. So thank you for the work you're doing. I think it's great. It's important to leave a legacy, and it's important to share other people's legacies. And I think you're going to do that. And I don't want to say a record because, well, business people, we say records, but nobody listens to records anymore. We can't even say you're putting it into a CD.
I still call
Hey, you're doing a digital file of other people's legacies, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but we will have CDs for sale, so we'll have tangible things.
Good, and we'll explain it to all the teenagers what those are. All right, so February 22nd, Historic State Theater, the Songs of American Stories from 7 o'clock until 9:30. Tamara Stewart, make sure that you come out and hear her share the stories of our veterans. Tamara, thanks for the time.
Thank you so much, mate.
All right, it's Greg Milby, Community Storyteller, and this is Kentucky's Heartland.